Ooh.
And here comes Marty. Now I start to share. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, here we go, folks. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Sebastopol Sunrise for June 23rd, 2021. Thank you, Jim Glom, for being our greeter this morning. He was here bright and early. And Linton, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you, Linton. Jim Gilliam, do you have a thought for us, please? Did he disappear? I know he's here.
Pictures there, but
I know. Where'd he go? Well, it's blank. Well, fiddle-dee-dee. Does anybody have a thought until Jim comes back?
Oh, someone's making tea, it sounds like.
Yeah, maybe that's him. Okay.
I have a little thought.
Okay, how about a little thought?
This is on my staff schedule I printed for this week. It says it doesn't cost anything to be nice.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Rudy.
Oh, good. So I have a thought. When you focus on the good gets better.
yeah.
So, Joe.
Hello, Barbara.
This is your avatar.
It's very fitting, especially the bow.
Yes. Yes.
So how about a little home on the range this morning?
Okay.
Everybody knows that one.
Now to Dawn and John, you just have to tolerate this, but we love to
Oh, they have to sing. Are
They
you
have
kidding?
to sing too. I know, but just go for it. Just go for it.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a distinct word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discerning word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
Oh, you made me laugh.
Yeehaw.
Okay, folks. So we have one cyber Rotarian I know. Well, we've got several, but John Mathers is from, John, what club are you in?
San Francisco.
San Francisco Club, and he's our program today. So welcome, John. And we have our, of course, our most close to our heart cyber Rotarians, Bruce and Helene, with us. And I think that's it on cyber Rotarians. We do have a guest, and that I've seen that's logged on, and then Don McGanhill, who is the executive director of Russian Riverkeeper. So welcome, Don.
Good morning, Don.
Good morning.
We'll hear more from you later. So yay. Thank you for coming. And
You're welcome.
think that's it on guests. And as I see people connecting.
Barbara, I don't think it's my computer. I can barely hear you.
Oh. It must be your, is everybody else?
No, I can't
Nope.
hear well.
I can't.
You've faded.
What?
Yep. Your volume changed a lot, Barbara.
Oh, really? I mean, I haven't
It
moved.
wasn't
It just happens. What can you do? Lean closer.
Not that close.
Okay, wave to your friends. I'll sit closer. I'll sit closer. And look, somebody already muted everybody, so I'm not going to mute y'all. No birthdays, no anniversaries, but we have a couple of Rotary anniversaries. So first we have Darlene. So Darlene, you can unmute yourself.
Hello,
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yay, it's your Rotary anniversary, and quite frankly, on my screen, I can't see the date because I've got all your people over there on that right-hand side, but
It was June 25th, my sister's birthday,
aha, that makes,
and I think it was in 2008,
I can't remember.
I think, because I joined the Humane Society board in 9, and I was already a Rotary member.
It says 13 years. 2008.
2008.
Yeah,
Been a long haul.
6/25/08. So, what really gave you the aha Rotary moment?
Probably when I went to Lisbon for the international convention.
Nice.
It was just amazing to see all the people and interact with everybody from different cultures, and everybody has the same mindset. I mean, I remember being on the plane from Philadelphia to Lisbon, and almost the entire plane was Rotarians. Talk about a rowdy bunch. that poor flight attendant had a hell of a time, but it was a pretty incredible experience overall.
Great. Well, super. Thank you. And well, I'm glad you're still with us and still here and hanging in there and not working too hard, hopefully.
Yeah.
And hope for another 13 more years or more.
Yeah.
And then Jim Gilliam says that you joined on 6/27/04. So is Jim back with us? I'm not seeing him.
Evidence of that.
He's
Well,
there, but he's muted.
I think Jim's skiing.
Is he back up in Bend? So, well, he joined in 04, and when he reappears, we'll get maybe some more information from him. And here's what's going on that's coming up. June 24th, David Mark Raymond, do you want to say something quickly about the Kiwanis Summer Sunset Stroll?
Sure. It is down at the community center. There'll be some drinks, a toast to Sebastopol community starting to get back together. Tickets are $50 per person, or you can buy up if you want to be a sponsor. And it's, I think, just a walkabout and an exterior outside social.
And Kiwanis, we're mentioning them because.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, they are another service club here in town, Barbara. Thank you for the prompt. And they participated in our auction. So this is a start of that mutual support. We go to their fundraisers, they come to ours. So if you've got the time, I'm definitely going to be there. If you've got the time and the inclination, come on down. So 5:30, I think.
David, it's Marty. What do you get for the $50?
I think a drink, some appetizers, and a chance to be with other people outside. And a chance to contribute. They, of course, do the 4th of July or the 3rd of July, remember? And they still had to cancel that this year. So this is how they're going to fundraise to support schools, Marty. Thanks for asking the question.
Got you. Thank you. I just was curious on what that, and I do know that they had to cancel their July 3rd, which is going to hurt them financially.
Yeah, and we can do something about it, right? Show up and have a good time.
David, one last question. Sorry, I missed the time and place.
5:30 at the annex next to the community center on Morris Street.
Great, thank you.
Okay, then we have the food bank. Now, Jerry, you have shirts, right? What can you show them the shirts? Show us the shirts. Where'd Jerry go?
Yeah.
We should get ours.
Here he is. You need to unmute yourself. Jack.
Yes. All right.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
there we go. Rotary, Sebastopol Sunrise, Rotarian at work. I've got a whole box full of them. And so give me a call or email and let's set up a time where you can either come by my house or somewhere I'll meet you and give you your shirt.
Yeah.
And Jerry, is there any possibility you could bring them to Joe's First Friday?
Thank you. Yes, I will have them at the first Friday
Okay.
next, a week from Friday.
Right, but if you want one to wear at your shift at the Redwood Empire Food Bank next Wednesday, then get hold of Jerry and get your shirt, because this is the perfect opportunity for you to wear.
Or today, if you want to wear it, if you're going today, stop by I'll be home most of the day. Stop by and I'll put my address and phone number and all in the chat here so you can contact me.
Great, super, thank you. Okay, next week's program, Michael Fells. So you're going to give us a blurb.
Right. Next week, we're going to have Lisa Carreño, who you may remember was the 10,000, excuse me, the executive director of 10,000 Degrees that a couple of us were involved in for several years. And now she's the executive director of the United Way for Sonoma County, and also a leading board member of Los Cien, which is, as it says, a bridge between the Latino and non-Latino communities. So she will be speaking with us. It's possible that Hernandez will also be joining her, who is the president of Los Cien and a fellow Rotarian. So it should be a very good session next week.
Great, thank you. Now we have a special event, so to speak. Chris, I thought this was a wonderful picture of you. It just shows your total personality. You've been an important part of our club for several years, and you're going to be leaving us. So we have several people with us this morning. I see that Elise Wieland is with us, and she's representing Linda Hopkins. So we're going to stop sharing and we're going to talk about Chris. So who wants to go first? I think Dawn, why don't you talk about how you started getting involved with Chris and cleaning up the Russian River, and then the Clean River Alliance.
Barbara, maybe I could jump in there first real quick. Just in case someone doesn't realize it, Chris is making a new home in Ecuador. He's leaving in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll be a Rotarian in Ecuador, but he's about to leave our club, and we wanted to wish him well here, say goodbye, and send him on his way.
Yes.
Don, you go ahead.
Now, Don.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Don McInhill, the Executive Director of Russian Riverkeeper. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Chris since I think it was about 2009. He showed up out of the blue at our Riverkeeper Park project and immediately just showed himself to be the can-do guy. If you've worked with Chris, you've done anything with Chris, Chris is all hands-on and just makes things happen often with little to start with. So, way back in 2010, he did a phenomenal amount of work for us regarding the development of Riverkeeper Park and earned our 2010 Volunteer of the Year years ago. And in about 2014, Chris and I were talking, and he was really just so driven by the amounts of trash on the river. And it really got under his skin, let's just say, for lack of a better word. It ticked him off is another way to put it. But it inspired Chris to really do something about it. He saw a problem and he went after it. And within a short amount of time, the efforts were so robust. Chris started the Clean River Alliance project. We were honored to be able to nurture that and support it as a fiscal sponsor. helped Chris acquire resources to support his work. And Chris worked for, boy, and correct me if I get this wrong, Chris, for 3 or 4 years as a volunteer on his own time while running his business, Green Janitor Service. And it was just phenomenal the amount of time Chris put into this effort. I can't tell you the hours. I mean, I would get these pictures and every weekend and odd hours of the day going, look what we got out of here. And it was just so inspiring. And I think one of the things that's been really amazing about Chris is just, he is someone who has gotten so many people to make the jump between thinking about action and taking action, and getting people out, organizing cleanups, and really driving volunteerism towards stewardship for the river. And we always look at picking up trash as kind of a gateway to being a steward for the Russian River. It's something anyone can do regardless of their ability. There's so many ways you can help. And once you start picking up trash, you start noticing other things about the river, and it leads us all to become better stewards of this huge resource we have in the river, and also protect our ocean. I know Chris has educated you. If I know Chris, he spent a lot of time telling you about the issues of trash, and that's been amazingly helpful too. And I think I'll try and wind it up to leave plenty of time for Elise, but Chris has set us up well. He's got some great staff he's leaving behind. He's left me and our crew with some charges to deal with some of the issues that are just persistent, like mowing trash and things that come out of vehicles when they're driving on the roadside, coming up with effective exit strategies for homeless camps. Often, everyone forgets about the trash that's in the camp as we move people to housing and help them recover and become, back into the housed community and get their feet under them. Often the trash is forgotten. So we're working with a number of groups at the county to address those issues. But I've told Chris, you left us several years of work to do at least. And just maintaining the program in Chris's absence is definitely going to be a challenge. He's someone, I've told him many times, Chris, you're one of a kind. I'm not sure we can find someone like you. There's only one Chris Brocate. And but we're probably going to have a number of people filling his shoes, because we just don't see one person being able to do what Chris has done. So we're eager to breathe life into the next chapter of what Chris started, and the program lives on as the Russian River Clean Team, always be remembered as Clean River Alliance. And I have no doubt whatever Chris does next, it's going to involve a lot of picking up trash and leading Rotary International to really making trash, along with some of the other partners in crime he has in the world of trash, to really take this on as a global issue, because there's only one planet, and we pretty much filled every dump around, and trash is becoming part of our life. It's entering our food stream, and we really need to reverse this trend, just like so many other troubling things like climate change. So I just got to hand it to Chris. We would not have a trash program anywhere where we do today without Chris building it and creating something from scratch. It's really been an amazing experience. And I'll just end it there and say, if this was an evening meeting, I'd be raising a glass to Chris. But I think you guys are ahead of me. Some of you might be drinking Irish coffee. I think Chris's efforts are just so noteworthy. And at his going away party, which unfortunately I was only able to attend part of last weekend, we presented him with our highest honor, which is the Friends of the Russian River Award. And Chris joins people like our founder, Marty Griffin, and people like former Supervisor Mike Riley, 17 individuals who have really done amazing things for the Russian River. So Chris, I don't think we've heard the last of you. I know we're going to be calling you in Ecuador asking for advice and things like that. But we're also eager to see your next chapter unfold as you move to Ecuador.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Don. Now, Michael Cook, did you have something you wanted to say quickly?
Why, yes. So Chris has been a major inspiration to us as well, and he caught our attention when we put together our online auction to raise funds for community projects, and we made the Russian River cleanup crew the centerpiece of that. And we asked them, what can we do to provide something tangible that would help out the work there? And so he identified a lift gate for the pickup truck. So he said that up to 4,000 pounds of trash can be picked up in a day by the crew, and that's a lot of lifting. So we wanted to help out with that and put it up on our online auction, and we raised enough money to not only buy the lift gate, but have it installed so it's all ready to go. And so we'd like to take this opportunity to let you know we're moving ahead to make that happen. I think there's a quote in hand, and the work is starting to get that installed. So we're happy to continue that partnership. And I think the only other thing is we hope that the Russian River Keepers will also have an ongoing participation in our Rotary Club.
Great, thank you, Michael. Now, Elise, excuse me, Elise, you have something from our county supervisor, Linda Hopkins. Where'd she
Yes,
go?
I've been fortunate enough to work with Chris for the last few years, and I know Supervisor Hopkins is out of town. She just really reveres Chris's work as well, and sponsored the following gold resolution that was approved by the Board of Supervisors in
Yes.
I'm sorry, I stopped because I just was ready to start reading the gold resolution, and I realized, Chris, have you actually received 2 of them? Because the gold resolution that I just pulled up is something from 2017. And
At least I have a copy of it. I'd be happy to read it if you'd like.
that would be lovely, because I just had a little
You had a morning, we call them morning moments. It's too early sometimes.
Yes,
not to worry.
Please do read the current one. Thank you.
This is a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of the County of Sonoma, State of California, honoring Chris Brocate for his contributions to the health of the Russian River and its communities. Whereas Chris took his environmental passion and brought together a group of volunteers who became known as the Garbage Patch Kids with the goal to end trash dumping. And whereas Chris realized the environmental and human impact caused by those living without shelter and worked to engage the unhoused with collaborating organizations on the issues of unsheltered people living on the waterways and the environmental impact caused by their living without shelter. And whereas Chris educated himself and others on the health issues from the viewpoint of living without shelter and became a strategy to provide for suitable water, trash, and sanitation mechanisms to engage the unsheltered population, to contribute to protecting the condition of the waterways and to minimize their own negative impact. And whereas Chris partnered and collaborated with other environmental groups, schools, mental health professionals, and logistics public works to educate and tackle the primary issues caused by trash, especially microplastics. And whereas Chris saw an opportunity to include the residents and visitors in being stewards of their rivers, coasts, and waterways, and engage the population in volunteer cleanup teams conducting beach and roadway pickups, street drain cleaning, and dump site remediation. Whereas Chris has been a passionate advocate for water quality, who has educated and inspired governments, residents, and volunteers to take action to keep waste out of our watershed. And whereas the organization of the Garbage Patch Kids became the nonprofit Clean River Alliance and is now part of the Russian River Keeper, growing his initial vision into the Russian River Clean Team, an impactful organization advocating for the health of the river and the populations, flora, fauna, and human, that rely on a healthy ecosystem. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Sonoma, State of California, hereby expresses the highest gratitude for Chris Brocate's excellent public service provided to the Russian River watershed and Sonoma Coast in Districts 4 and 5, and to community members county-wide. And it's signed by all the supervisors.
Great, thank you.
I should
think
just mention too that there's a statement in there about inspired governments. That's true, and I think that's really an unusual thing. I know other Rotarians have done that by using that Rotary force multiplier effect, but it's not an easy thing for an individual to inspire a government agency to take action, which Chris did.
so. I think, Chris, you deserve a standing ovation. So now one other person that we invited to be here, I know, we're going to miss you, was Salvador Rico from the South Ukiah Rotary Club, because he and Chris have been working very closely on the Rotary project of cleaning the rivers of the world. But Salvador is on his way to a district conference and in Mexico, where he is a featured speaker. So he's not with us this morning. But Chris, why don't you talk a little bit about it? We've got just a few minutes, but we really want to honor you and tell us about what you're doing, what you're thinking, and we're so thrilled that you are a Rotarian.
Well, I'm crying right now. That's what I'm doing. Just a big baby. God, you guys. Oh, where to start? You know, in a few minutes, it's going to be so hard. But, you know, first and foremost, I want to thank Don, because from day one, Don has just been like this great leader for me and giving me a lot of free range. And that's something I was used to already doing, having worked for myself for 28 years. So it was a real easy transition for me to go and to run Clean River Alliance. And I want to thank Don a lot for that. And God, Rotary has just been a real inspiration too. And I'm really looking forward to, you know, getting involved over in Ecuador. They have a group out there on the coast that I've already made some connections with, and most certainly going to keep my membership up. And I think this connection that we've been able to make with Rotary here locally and Russian River Keeper is, you know, really important to me. And I think it, other than the trash program for the homeless, is one of the keystone projects that I'm kind of leaving behind that I'm just really proud of. Like an example is this last cleanup that we organized throughout our watershed. We had 150 Rotary members from our district come out and partner with Riverkeeper to clean up the watershed. And that was during a time when we were still dealing with COVID. So I'm just really anxious and excited to see how that's going to expand in the future as another major cleanup on the watershed, other than the one that's coming up in September, which I just want to remind everybody about, because that's what we do is plan for the next one. And it really takes, you know, everybody coming out and making this watershed cleanup happen. And that's going to be the third Saturday, which has turned out to be a, you know, World Water Day. You know, not only Rotary, but every group, there's cleanups happening all over the world on third Saturday. And that's really exciting. Just thank everybody here. I look forward to, you know, continuing to see you guys on Zoom. And you guys have been amazing support. I wish I could have spent more time and gotten to know more of you. And so I finally did get to pull the trigger. I got all my paperwork on Monday, and I'm actually flying out on July 7th. So that was a huge relief, because this whole process has just been, you know, really a lot of anxiety and but it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to my next chapter, and I just really honored and blessed to have been, you know, a part of this whole thing and live here on the Russian River. So.
Oh, thank you, Chris. And we are looking forward as a club to working with you and whatever club that you join in Ecuador on potential global grants. So yay, Rotary Foundation. Let's see what we can do. And let's continue to work on cleaning up the rivers of the world. So thank you.
Yeah.
Chris also, okay, Don sent a message. He says, yes, you can say just real quick, because we are out of
I just
time.
want to thank the club for making the lift gate happen. One thing I was talking to Chris at his party, he has destroyed his body doing this work. I mean, you 7 days a week of heaving these huge loaded garbage bags way up on a truck bed. We're looking forward to protecting our staff and letting them work longer with less repetitive stress injury. So you are literally going to help people's health with this, as well as help us get more trash off. So Chris, thank you for the idea, because we don't want to see anyone destroy their bodies to do good work. So, and Chris, I hope you take care of that body when you get to Ecuador. Thank you.
Barbara, can I add one more thing?
Real quick.
Everyone knows Chris for the river cleanup and the beach cleanups.
Right.
But a huge additional thing that he has done is help get this Adopt a Road program going. And I was just talking to Clyde Galantine, and in less than 6 months, almost 10% of the county roads have been adopted. That's amazing that we got that much done. And it was all because of Chris. So, yeah.
You too, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go back to screen sharing. And I'm going to go really quickly here. Jerry, we're going to have to do this next week. But let's see, number 23, quickly, Michael Fells, who's
that is lucky Al Lustig.
Okay, Al, I will scrape the thing and let you know. So now we need to move on to our program, which is absolutely appropriate for today. So welcome, John.
Thank you.
So Chris, are
yes,
you?
I'll
Chris,
jump in there.
Charlie,
I'm going to jump in there with a little background on John. But I also thought I should just mention again, real quickly, about that lift gate, the amount of trash that Chris's organization has picked up and has kept track of is 1.5 million pounds. Wow. So it's not a small thing. Anyway, on to business. John is a business advisor and a personal coach in Mill Valley. Over 40 years, he's worked with hundreds of Fortune 1000 companies and their management teams, as well as thousands of team leaders and individual contributors. The focus of his work has been on enhancing team and individual performance, which equates to workplace equity and corporate sustainability. He's a past president of the Rotary Club of San Francisco and has held several district positions. He has done a lot of work in the Bay Area pro bono for more than 30 years. And he has a special interest in climate change, which is the direct result of being a grandfather and working extensively on Rotary projects with an environmental focus. So with that, a few minutes late, John, take it away.
No problem. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Whoops, I just forgot. I gotta turn on the sound. I always forget to do that, just in case. So I'm embarrassed. I have to start out by telling you I'm embarrassed. And the reason I'm embarrassed is that Chris has demonstrated everything that I want to tell you today. And so I've watched the cleanup that's been done on the river over the last few years, and it's impressive, incredibly impressive, and it really does demonstrate what Rotary is about. So I'm going to go through a lot of material here, but I wanted to start by sharing with you my middle name with you. So my middle name is Grinnell, and I was named after my great uncle and my grandfather. And my great uncle was George Bird Grinnell, and he was the founder of the Audubon Society, and he was the person that set aside Glacier National Park. And he inspired me, along with a lot of other people, in the Boone and Crockett Club that he founded with Teddy Roosevelt. So it's not surprising that here I am at a younger age. I was very involved with the conservation. And here's a glacier named after Grinnell, 1920 and 2013. What's interesting is that there was a lake there, and you can see the glacier down below. But here's what it looks like more recently. Something's missing. If you look, you can see that there are 4 lakes, 3 of them. The one on the top is Grinnell Glacier, and then Josephine down in the middle, which was named after his mule. And the lowest one is Swiftwater, I think, or something like that. Sweetwater, or something like that. Swiftwater, Swift Current, that's what it is. So why am I focused on this? I'm focused on this because I have grandchildren and I have children who have to live with whatever it is that we leave them with. So please save your questions until the end or put them in the chat. And I'm going to go through a lot of material that I'm sure you're familiar with. And then I want to talk about what Rotary can do, which is demonstrated by what Chris is up to and what other people are doing. So this is the first picture of Earth fully illuminated that any of us ever saw. It's taken from the last Apollo mission, and it changed the way that humanity thought about our common home. It's called the blue marble. Reminds us that we're all connected and that our actions have an impact on our planet. But I want to be really clear. Our blue marble, our Mother Earth, is compensating perfectly to sustain herself. Every change in our climate and environment happens within her perfect equilibrium. She's been in balance for millions of years, and she'll continue to be in balance for millions to come. So what's the problem? Perhaps we, our human beings, are the ones that are out of balance, and we, not our mother, are at an existential tipping point where we may lose the ability to recover. We're putting 152 million tons of man-made global warming pollution into the atmosphere every single day. That pollution, especially carbon dioxide, is building up and it's trapping heat. And we know that there are sources that are causing this man-made warming. But I think it's important to talk about, we're headed towards 4 degrees Celsius by 2100. From a current 55 degrees Fahrenheit to over 63 degrees. But I want you to think about this. A 5-degree difference from today's temperature, 5 degrees Fahrenheit, on the downside represents an ice age, and on the upside represents overwhelming flooding. Some people talk about climate change as normal. It is not normal. You can see this is a projection of 4 degrees Celsius by 2100. And you can see that the brown, the dark brown, represents dry and desert. Billions without food, water, or shelter, massive migration, global economy in tatters. The 2 countries that will survive will be Russia and Canada. They will be where people want to go. And it's not too late, but we have to be skeptical. I'm skeptical. If you're skeptical about what's going on the planet, let me give you one image. Here is a satellite image of Siberia above the Arctic Circle yesterday.
Oh, crap. Wow.
100, thank you. That's exactly my impression. 118 degrees Fahrenheit at the Arctic Circle.
Wow.
This is significant, and it's significant for a lot of reasons I'm not going to go into right now, but a lot of reasons that we need to be paying attention. Every kind of climate-related issue is on the rise. We see it all over us and around the world. Severe storms, flooding, fires, drought, glacial melt, tidal rise, ocean acidification, changes in global ocean currents and the jet stream, all and much more are happening now. Did you know 25 people become refugees every minute right now? And it's certain to impact millions to come in the second half of the century. Think about it. California water is now being traded on the CBT as a commodity. We have to make choices now to transition to a sustainable world. But again, we're not moving fast enough as the crisis demands. And most of this has to do with economic considerations. Here is where we stand regarding global energy consumption right now. Oil, coal, gas, and the miscellaneous is hydro and renewables and nuclear. But here's the issue. We're moving in the wrong direction. if we want to address the crisis. The investment for the next few years are expected to be 4 times more for fossil fuels than renewables. And the cost of inaction is mounting today and tomorrow. According to the global insurance industry, 2018-19 represented we're in the top 10 most expensive for overall losses, 160 billion in 2018, 140 billion in 2019. And 2020 in the US alone, the cost was 79 billion. The future based on mitigation is not attractive in terms of cost and lives. And here's what is projected for as examples, an increase of 2 degrees Celsius. We're approaching right now. New York, $100 billion. Tokyo, $160 billion. Rio, $150 billion. London, $300 billion. And we're only talking about mitigation. We're not dealing with the impact on population. Look at the most susceptible cities at risk by population. Many in developing countries are in grave danger. If parts of these cities become uninhabitable, where will the people living there go? And how will it impact the cost of adaptation? And who will bear the cost? We're stuck in a feedback loop. Temperatures rise, heat is trapped, temperatures rise. We need to reverse the loop and restore our natural balance. There's a wonderful conversation the Dalai Lama and Greta Thunberg recently had. It's worth looking into the climate energy feedback loops. It's worth looking up the videos and the conversation. It's a real education about what is more than just simply we need to live up to the Paris Accords. Viewed based on carbon footprint, many countries are out of whack. The average US citizen requires 22 acres to offset their carbon footprint. That's 16 tons of greenhouse gases versus the average globally, which is 4 tons. Just to put this in perspective, China is the #1 emitter and the US is second. So here's the issue. Our climate and environment crisis is kind of like an overflowing tub. We have to do more than just turn off the faucet. That's the net zero of the Paris Accord. We need to take 3 actions. 1, mitigation. We aggressively address the crisis as it arises. Adaptation, find ways to live within the shifting environment. But we also need to empty the tub from current unsustainable CO2 levels of 420 parts per million and rising to below 300. That means restoration, bringing down CO2 levels through land and ocean sinks, natural sequestration. We can't count on technology to do it all. We need to change the way we use our land and oceans. There are things that are changing, and it's possible. We have resources and the know-how, solar, wind, nuclear, things we haven't even thought of. There is enough solar energy reaching Earth every hour to fill all the world's needs for a full year. And did you know that globally, wind could supply worldwide electric consumption 40 times over? And did you know that there are many countries where a significant portion of their electrical grid is basically greenhouse gas pollution free? Here are a few of them, and you can see the percentages of their electric grid that is provided greenhouse gas free. And no matter what you think, that's nuclear energy at scale. And it's possible in pocket plants with new safety innovations being supported by people like Bill Gates. It could deliver 4 million times the energy of coal and gas without producing greenhouse gases. It's available and it's happening now and developing. It's something we need to consider. And all the costs for existing renewable technologies are falling rapidly. We're beginning to listen to nature at the same time on how to restore the planet by sequestering carbon through better management of our forests and replenishing our farmlands and coastlines, just like Chris. At the same time, we're inventing and enhancing methods to capture carbon and sequester it in the ground. The question is, are we willing to manage the transition to a sustainable world? There are 3 steps to this transition. 1, I talked about mitigation, adaptation, and restoration. We accept where we are, take action, address the cost. 2, shift subsidies, move more quickly to support renewables, find ways to make investments in fossil fuels less attractive. And 3, establish a renewable environment, concurrently creating a sustainable future. And we are taking action. The Paris Accord is now at full strength, with every nation agreeing to phase down greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by mid-century. That's the good news. The bad news, countries are failing to meet the Paris Accord targets. Keeping below 1.5 Celsius increase is almost impossible at this point. Interestingly, of the first 75 countries reporting, they reported that their target for 2030 was supposed to be 45%. The first 75 countries said they're planning on reaching 0.5% reduction. At the same time, the Biden administration is taking a leadership position by targeting 52% of greenhouse gas reduction by over the 2005 levels by 2030. And climate action isn't about what countries are doing. It's also about states, provinces, cities, universities, corporations, and nonprofits. And they're looking to reduce emissions. 24 states representing well over half the American people are already going farther than required by the Paris Accord. California, as an example, is talking about and taking action on a target for 2030 rather than 2050. Bring it in close, according to Governor Newsom. And multiple US cities have committed to 100% renewable energy. Even though small, there are a few that are already arrived. And some of the world's biggest companies have pledged to reach net zero carbon emissions by mid-century. However, it's not enough. Governments around the world continue to subsidize fossil fuels. Key to shifting our focus on government oversight, starting with subsidies and moving on to some kind of carbon pricing. After-tax subsidies have not stopped growing. The last few years have seen increases, opening new fields for drilling in the US and Russia and building new coal plants in China. Fossil fuels now represent $6 trillion annually in subsidies. On the other hand, renewable subsidies for innovation and development are only about 1.2 trillion worldwide. But the world markets are taking notice. Here's the S&P 500, Standard & Poor's, and it's over the last number of years. It's been going up steadily. And here's the energy sector. Not a good investment. The market returns on clean energy have gone up 60% in the last 4 years. Fossil fuel companies, they've gone down 12% in the same period. And here's the overall value of ExxonMobil. And here's the value of Tesla, just surpassing Exxon. With all the EV competition, a lot of companies may soon surpass Exxon. Fossil fuel companies now are coming to understand that they're facing a real crisis. Recently, Shell and Chevron agreed to a 45% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2030, and the Exxon board took on several climate activists. But even if we shift subsidies from fossil to renewables, we have to move more quickly. Some kind of tax on carbon is needed. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, can limit carbon emissions through cap and trade, where the government sets limits and companies trade to offset their carbon footprint or to make money from their green status, or a simple tax on carbon emissions based on pollution. California put a price on carbon in 2013 and emissions declined more than 8%. Today, the program manages 85% of the carbon pollution, the most of any policy in the world. But the system has plenty of slack due to low prices and high levels of pollution permits. The average cost per ton of emissions globally is way too low at $2 a ton, according to the IMF, when it should be more than $35 a ton. And yet 70% of the US voters are fully in support of moving to 100% renewable. We must develop the political will to set the rules for the road for emitters through standards and holding those polluters to account. But we can't do this without shifting our thinking. In the world that we live in, perception is reality. That has become very clear with Yale studies that have been done over the last 5 years. Here's a few of the results of the 2020 survey. These are provided at a county level across the country. The dark brown means higher levels of acceptance, dark blue means lower level of acceptance. So here's climate change is happening, 72%, but you see in the middle of the country, it's lower. It's caused by humans, 55%. Again, notice the counties in the middle of the country. Will harm me personally, average 43%. Harm future generations, 71%. We need to regulate CO2. The average is 75%. Congress needs to do more. The average is 60%. And citizens can do more. The average is 64%. This is interesting and educational, but the real issue for me is that over the last 5 years, these numbers have changed very, very little. Even though it seems like we're understanding more about climate change, it's not getting across to people and their perception. With education, perhaps we can balance the demands of nature, support the humankind, and rethink what is appropriate growth. But how do we overcome our cultural social instinct to focus on acquisition and ownership that is detrimental to our environment and the most vulnerable among us? Is there a sustainable model that we can consider moving forward with? The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals can provide a map for countries and individuals who support new ways of looking at the world. And obviously, I know that you know that we are the only NGO with a seat at the UN. It's worth recognizing that we do have power and position. Clearly, people see the issue and want to take action. They're demonstrating, they're making demands at the ballot box because legislation and regulation are the key to a successful transition. If we're going to see rapid shift in economic support, we have to have sustainable development. Rotary has joined the growing voices seeking to address the impact on our planet. The new area of focus is created to support Rotarians in taking action. And the statement of policy, if you haven't read it, is powerful and comprehensive. It speaks to both preservation of our environment and directly confronting the climate crisis. Maslow's hierarchy of needs says it all. Climate change impacts those at the bottom of the pyramid. As Rotarians, we cannot continue to say service above self without addressing the impact of the climate crisis on our families, our communities, and those in need who we serve every day. The new policy statement speaks to 3 areas and 8 targets. The first area is protecting the environment. The second is taking action amidst the climate crisis. And the third area is addressing environmental inequality. Take time to read the entire policy statement. It's worth it. It's powerful and it's comprehensive. I'm going to leave a link to it. I'll send that out after we finish today, along with a bunch of other links. So a lot of people, including many Rotarians, are concerned that addressing the climate crisis is political. Holger Knack, our president, said it's definitely not political. It is a fact, which is why it's important. If things are obviously wrong, we have to say so. You are powerful. You've demonstrated that over and over again in the work that you do in your community. Rotary is powerful. We're recognized, we're trusted because we can get things done. It's exactly what you said about Chris and about your club. I know you're already active, but there are 3 specific ways you can help to make even more of a difference. First, join the growing number of clubs and individuals who have made a commitment to address the climate crisis. It's a statement. Our partner, Global Climate Pledge, has more than 210 Rotary clubs that are making the commitment through their website, and 275,000 individual pledges. Again, I'm going to share the links with you so that you have them. Second, use your position in the community to advocate. Review your community's clean energy plan based on outcomes. And if there isn't one, help build it. But I know you have one. I've talked to, I can't remember who it is on your city council. so I know it's there. But how is it doing? And are the outcomes being achieved? And then take action to support the county plan and then go beyond. And third, take on climate projects with community partners. Build across the community to take more action and have more projects. Rotary has the ability to create these partnerships in almost any situation. Recognize your club's unique position and consider how to use it. And there are Rotary's resources to help through SRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group. We're expanding membership while continuing to focus on key Rotary-wide projects. And RCAT is helping build club infrastructure to focus on community projects and share successes with other clubs. Working together, we support our environment and confront the crisis. Use our online resources for information, action, and project success stories. Have different speakers inform you and your club on key issues. Upload your projects to our site so other people can learn from your work. It's easy and can be done on your smartphone. And be sure to join us the third Thursday of every month for our Global Speakers Forum. And consider working with the data and ideas if you're not already, or our Rotary Partner Project Drawdown. It's a coalition of scientists, researchers, and advisors from all over the world with the goal of providing 100 solutions to reverse global warming. Buy the Drawdown book, download the free Drawdown review, and watch the videos that they've produced that are excellent. Here's a couple of the projects that you might consider. But let me give you an example of a potential project, EV Ride Drive. It's important because electric CO2 emissions are almost nil versus gas, hybrid, and hybrid plug-ins. So how does it work? You partner with another Rotary club or other Rotary clubs and district Rotaractors. You arrange EV sales organizations like Tesla, Ford, GM, or VW. You might depend on EV owners. They love to tell their stories. You get support from local government based on the Clean Energy Plan and include other environmental groups. It's fun and it's not hard to put together. And a recent California study of 4,000 visitors to Ride Drive events shows an amazing 98% of the people say they're planning on or buying an electric vehicle. And there are plenty of other resources. Take the time to do the short and long form carbon footprint assessment. The best short form is the gold standard. Our partner Bright Action does an excellent and detailed assessment. If you go to Bright Action and input your zip code, you'll access local assessment with potentially 50 to 75 suggested actions that you can take. You can also do something with your club and have a group project. The last area is the there it is. The Global Footprint Network is being supported by SRAG, and we're looking to propose that all Rotarians get an opportunity to fill it out and see where they stand on a global basis. Businesses and organizations can seek green certification based on UN Sustainable Development Goals, or through a myriad of green certification programs in every country and every US state. There's no one that's the best. You have to look and see what's best in your community. All of these resources I mentioned, I'll be sending to you after the get together today. And so consider being responsible when you travel, whether for business or pleasure. I'm not going to go into these services, but know that thoughtful travel is important, not just offsetting to make sure that the money you spend actually goes to the destination rather than global travel vendors, so that the people that are serving you actually get the benefit. We can overcome resistance by deciding on our focus, maintain the existing model, move to a new paradigm. There are a number of cultural and political directions worth considering. The United Nations push for sustainable development, actions like the Assisi Manifesto, where climate change is an opportunity to address global inequality. Papal encyclical recently came out, and it has a balanced, thoughtful development approach. And no matter what you think, green legislation is a must in the near term. We're in a midst of a crisis, so we have to jump in. And lastly, but most important, we have a partnership with the Citizens Climate Lobby and another bunch of other groups. Spend time to take action in order to further legislation and regulation. Give your time and energy. And I just mentioned that we have our site at the Rotary International Convention is still up and running if you want to go to our virtual site. And lastly, please sign the pledge, create an action team, become a member of SRAG, and join the network and access regular programs, speakers, your club, and connections. Share your projects, please. Your voice, your choices in the marketplace, your vote, your influence in the community, as if your world depends on it, because your world depends on it. And I apologize for going over, but I have been very upset by the information from yesterday from Siberia, and I had to share that with you.
Yeah, no, that is a staggering fact. So thank you very much, John. I know this is a topic near and dear to all of our hearts. And yeah, please send, if you can send Charlie, because I know you have Charlie's email, if you can send him the links, we can get those and send them out to the club through DACTV, because I think they're really important. And also, don't forget, all of you, our club members, join SRAG. And if you're on Facebook, like or friend Saving the Rivers of the World, because there's a lot of great work that we're doing in Rotary through cleaning up the trash. So thank you very much. Really appreciate your coming, and keep up the good work. Now I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here. Because, well, first of all, the Lotto Scratcher was another loser. So what else is new? Jim Goodenough, do you have a joke for us?
Yes, I do. Thank you, John. It's hard to tell a joke after your serious subject, but here goes anyway. Do you know why it is so difficult to determine if a pterodactyl is using your bathroom? Because the P is silent.
Aw, that's cute.
Very good.
Cute. Thank you, Jim. So, Joe, take us away.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Thank you all, and we will see you next week, if not before. So, happy trails all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John.
You bet.
Yeah, really, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, Chris.
Wait.
Yep.
Thank
you, Chris.
Every reason to be in Rotary. It's the only group. I am 100% convinced that Rotary is the group internationally around the world that can take on this problem.
Yep.
You bet.
And in lots of small ways and in big ways. And I think that's the critical thing, because lots of small things all of a sudden add up.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you all. Okie dokie. I'm going to end the meeting here. Or, yeah. Good. See y'all next week.